Hey everyone, welcome to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episodes. You can catch our episode reviews at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. Today we are covering The Ones Who Live Season 1, Episode 4. For those of you joining us live today, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I'm your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at The Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I'm also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you would like to connect with me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
Okay, so before we get started, we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube, hit us up in the comment section. If you are catching this on a replay, you can still comment on YouTube or Spotify or leave us a voice message using the SpeakPipe link in the show notes. If you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
No scene-by-scene breakdowns here. We jump around, and of course, huge spoiler alert for everything, every show in the world through yesterday's episode. So if you're good with that, this is the place for you, and we should just jump to it. But before we do, Lisa, my eardrums almost blew out. Let me tell you how. So you guys, we're having audio issues. Hopefully you can't hear it, but I have my volume at 100 so I can hear her. And when I played the intro, it was at 100 in my ears. Oh my God, I almost jumped out of my seat.
Way to go, Tamara. I'm so proud of you.
Oh my God. I'm like, the fuck? Right out. I yanked one of the ear things out of my ear so fast. Oh my God. It was a thing. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on because my audio is at push at 100%. And everything is working on my side. Everything is working on her side. But for some reason, technology has decided, nope.
I know. We can thank Restream for that. Thank you, Restream. Why am I paying you all this money?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It does not like me at all.
Okay, let's hop to it. We got a lot to talk about, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Episode 4.
Oh my God, that was the best episode I ever saw in my life.
I really enjoyed it. Because you and I have talked, especially after the first episode, about how much trauma that Rick has been through.
Mm-hmm.
And this was really Michonne confronting all that trauma.
Yes.
And, it's that, what is it, the hostage mentality, but you've spent so much time with your captor.
Yes.
To identify with your captor.
Yeah, he was definitely feeling those vibes. It was hard for her to break through that.
Oh, yeah. And he kept coming up with excuses. Well, maybe, could be, possibly. And then even after they saw that the helicopter had crashed into into another building and she had inadvertently saved them, he still wanted to push the button and go back.
You know what, though? That scene, that was her breaking point temporarily. Mm-hmm. She's like, fuck this.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you. I'm leaving. How dare you? When the prison cells open, you walk out.
That's right. Don't just stay.
Right. So she was so frustrated. And I have to give Denai Guerrera all the praise. She wrote this episode.
Oh, yeah. She wrote it. She was directing. Well, I don't know if she technically was directing it, but they gave her the lead on it.
Oh, yeah,
I
her
know
hands
that.
are all over this, and it shows because I feel
Mhm,
like she nailed the relationship points like no other.
mhm.
The level of frustration Michonne had with Rick is real.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, and a lot of it is again, she had this story built up in her head of
Mhm.
what it would be like when she found Rick. This wonderful reunion and her being able to extract him wherever he was and him joyfully coming back with her. And
Yeah, they thought she thought, "Oh, we're gonna skip off into the sunset like I
yeah,
planned," and she got something she was not prepared for,
no,
even though
and
Nate tried to warn her.
yeah, you have to know when to go. Maybe I should have just left. Nate would have been alive and
Or
so
not.
on and so forth.
Yeah.
If she hadn't have been so consumed with and I know there's that part of her that she's going, if she had not been so consumed with finding Rick, that she could have taken all of those people back to Alexandria and saved them.
Yeah, maybe. She'll never know because, she
Hmm.
doesn't know what was going on there, but she does, she's thinking the what ifs,
Right.
just like when she talks about being stuck in that mall for a year. She's like, I
Mhm.
lost another year with my children,
Right.
another year. And I made this track to come back empty handed looking stupid. No.
Well, and I think she was heartbroken when she finally, revealed that they had a son, that
Oh, that
named
scene.
after him, and it still wasn't enough to break through, and that, oh, that hurt her. It hurt her bad.
It definitely did. I mean, she lets the secret, I guess, she was kind of
Mhm.
trying to shield him from it, I think, but it just kind of stumbles out and he's talking about the stupid button. She's like, "Are you listening? What is wrong with you? Like, dude, who are you?" And
Yeah,
that is exactly what we were saying last episode. Like, he is someone completely different right now.
right. He is a he is a broken man.
He is
They
beyond broken almost.
they broke him. I mean, they he spent so much time and effort trying to get away, and it reinforced every time that he couldn't escape, that he can't get away. And then, you know, um, Okafor, he began to form this bond with him and started to see things his way. And again, it's that captive mentality.
You
He's been
know,
with them for so long that he started to identify with his captors.
yeah, and I'm not even sure he necessarily agreed. I think it was like this last ditch effort thing.
Hmm.
He's accepted, he's stuck, he's accepted. Even when he reveals to Michonne what his real problem is, which I was saying this verbally the whole show. I'm like, he is scared. He's
Hmm.
scared. And he needs to grow up hair, suck it up and do it anyway.
Right,
That phrase, feel the fear and do it anyway, right?
right. Oh
That's
yeah.
what he needed to break through to.
Well, and again, that goes back to him being broken because
Mhm.
it took it took bravery to cut off his own hand to get away.
Mhm.
The things that he did and the things that he tried took guts, and the fact that he did it over and over and over again, you know, and then finally he was just, when the defeat happened, it happened all at once. He just, and you could see where the crumble started, in the first episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just, and I think him leaving with Michonne, that the idea of rekindling that hope that he had literally burned, in a trash barrel, was almost more than he could bear.
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, honestly, his monologue when he kind of breaks down and reveals all was just some spectacular work. Like, honestly, we could tell. So, from his story, he was already halfway there when he couldn't even remember what Carl looked like anymore.
Right.
So then once that was gone, he was dreaming of all these different ways that him and Michonne were falling in love, which is, oh my God, heartbreaking.
Mhm.
And then he starts to forget her as well.
Yeah.
And then it's like that was the last straw. And he talks about being dead while still living. And I'm like, he is the walking dead, right? In the most simplistic way. Like he is dead inside, but he is
Mhm.
living anyway.
And in a way, I think Michonne can kind of identify with that feeling because when Michonne was first introduced to the group, that was pretty much her.
Mhm.
She was walking with the walkers. She had, two of them on a leash, and she just wandered with them.
Mhm.
She had no fear of the walkers because she just, she was one of them.
Yeah.
And it was Rick that pulled her out of that. And I think as he was talking, I think she could kind of identify with that because she had been there once before with that
Mhm.
loss of hope and seeing a future, a forward, other than putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it just took a while for her to work through her hurt.
And you know what she did? Honestly, she did it a lot faster than Rick did.
Oh yeah.
So, and honestly, at the end of the show, so let me just skip to my first impressions right at the end of that episode. I'm like, wow, Michonne, she, as the wife, she's doing the heavy lifting. She did all the heavy lifting almost. She pushed him across the finish line.
Hmm.
And I'm like, isn't that reality?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we do all the heavy lifting, the emotional heavy lifting, and get them there where they need to be. I'm like, is it? I swear, this is reality.
Yeah. It really is, And I
Yeah,
felt that. I felt that.
yeah. I'm like, God, oh my gosh, he would still be, if it wasn't for her, he'd still be singing like their songs, dancing their dance. He would have never
Mhm.
broken out of it.
No.
And she had to like kind of almost reset, right?
Hmm.
When they got back to that apartment, and of course, we have the scene that we were all like, it's gonna happen.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, of course she's gonna do it. She's deprived for 8 years. He's deprived. They're gonna do it. And of course, that also brings them closer again. But after that, he wanted to get up and leave. And she's like, no,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, just that was a flat no too.
Yeah,
No.
she's like, no, we're gonna sit here and figure it out. And we're not leaving until we figure it out.
Yeah, this
And the
building can collapse down around us, and I'm not moving until
Yes,
we
she
figure
don't
this
care.
out.
She does not care. It's more important for them to figure it out than to run out of that building and then have things still a mess. And she took from Nat, you gotta know when to go, right? It's
Right.
not time. Wow, her character, that writing for Michonne was so spot on. She is so smart. She has grown so much as a character
Mhm.
from before till now.
Okay, I'm gonna say one thing, okay, and this is because of the bad things that have happened on, like, Fear the Walking Dead and World Beyond, just the stupidity factor, or the stupid thing factor, I guess, however you wanna look at it.
Mhm.
So, at the very end, when they're showing all the rubble and they show that little Roomba, I'm like, all I can think of is, I swear to God, if they have that thing press the button, I am going to be pissed. Because they left it up there in the apartment.
Yeah, and it could have been pressed by a falling,
Yeah.
wall or ceiling or whatever.
Now, hopefully, if they go back and oh, yeah, we blew that up. It must have been just a glitch. You know?
Yeah,
But yeah, there's this in the back of my head. I'm just like, if they show that little Roomba hitting the call button, I'm going to be mad.
I know
Because this
all
has been,
that.
this has been like a perfect episode of realism. How two people, in this very horrible situation are trying to reconnect. And if that had happened, I just would have been mad.
Oh my gosh, right? I mean, to top it all off, because to be honest, throughout this whole episode, they had these low lows and these highs. And honestly, again, credit to Denai for writing this because even with all of the heavy, emotion, she found levity. Some of that stuff was funny.
Oh yeah.
Like when, she's angry at him, they're angry at each other. He runs after her finally. And in that scene, I'm like, leave the room, idiot. Go and follow her. And he finally does. He knocks her down,
Uh-huh.
and they run off and they're fighting. And then all of a sudden, they're kind of out of sync, right? They haven't fought together in a while.
Right.
He yanks the knife out of the thing's head. It splats in her face.
And
She's
she's
like, really?
really
I'm like, oh my God. He's like,
the
sorry.
look that she gave him.
Was
Oh my
death. Death. Like, how dare you?
around my house that's called the Aunt Jenny look.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen that in a TikTok when everyone says, be scared of Aunt Jenny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is. That's the Aunt Jenny look. Apparently,
Yes.
I have perfected the Aunt Jenny look.
Oh yeah, she got it. And the time where she calls him commando,
Oh yeah.
like they had these random, well-placed comedic beats that really helped, right?
Yeah,
It helped
because
break it up.
it helped kind of make it wasn't all monotone. So you have,
Mhm.
just like a good set of music. You have your highs, you have your lows, and that's what this whole episode, it had these ups and downs, and again, people in trauma situations and traumatic situations, they will still fall back to levity, you know,
Mhm.
just to help try to process through what's going on. So it wasn't out of character. It wasn't unreasonable behavior.
Yeah, it didn't seem weird. It fit. It fit.
Hmm.
And I mean, I know that feeling of I can't stand you right now, but obviously I still love you. I can't stand you,
Yep.
but I'm
Here
not
we are.
we're not going to let anything happen to each other. We're going to fight these things. Just like
Mhm.
when he wouldn't leave her when the chandelier fell on her.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, I just wanted to hear you say that out loud," kind of.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, we're in this big fight, but I still won't leave you or let anything happen to you. And so
Yeah.
like that is what made it even more funny like when they're struggling at first like but at the end, the chef's kiss, like after they work it out and they leave the room, they're like fighting in tune with each other.
Hmm.
It's like got that kapow back.
Yeah.
The mood changed, the fighting changed, the energy stepped up a little bit. I'm like, wow, full circle.
Yeah. And it's that energy that Jadis was afraid of.
Yes. Like, oh no, they can do everything,
Yeah.
anything.
I will say, did you watch the little after, um,
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's sticking in my head is at the very last of that, the behind the scenes is, they had the perfect moment. They drove off into the sunset,
Yeah.
and and if we had just left it there, you could believe anything was possible. But this is The Walking Dead.
Right. Right. So there's no way they get that. Let's just drive off into the sunset ending.
But
But
it was a nice ending for that episode.
it was. But I think everyone would have been disappointed if that was it, to be honest.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure they would be, but in a way that, I mean, it is kind of nice to imagine them just driving off because they're even said, I think we can make it all the way back to Alexandria in this car.
That
That's
is
not going
like the kiss of death. Why did you say that out
to,
loud?
you know. But yeah, it was just kind of that, they're in the car, and I love it. He gets into the driver's seat and looks down, stick shift. You know,
Mm-hmm.
well, okay, that's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna work. And they're
Pretty
giggling.
epic.
I mean,
I
they're laughing like
know.
they're on a road trip. I mean, like on a pre-apocalypse road trip.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this is the first time we've seen Rick's expression that did not look like he was in pain or sad.
Oh yeah,
This is it.
yeah, because he's looked like a kicked puppy
Yes,
all
the
the way up
entire
until
time.
this entire time.
Mhm. Now
And
he looks relaxed.
Yeah, he
And
was a real smile.
yeah.
'Cause I don't think even when he saw Michonne, he didn't smile. There was panic,
Mhm.
when he first saw her, after the helicopter went down. And, even when she told him that Judith was okay and everything else, he never really smiled.
Mm-mm.
And it wasn't until the last, what, maybe 4 minutes of the show, you see that real smile.
Yeah, because he's technically been unburdened, right?
Yeah.
He's got all the stuff off his chest. He's feeling really positive right now. He's
Mhm.
feeling that we can do anything energy. So even if it only lasts a day, he can enjoy it now. I mean, honestly, they both looked amazing. Like even Michonne, look at her. She's
Oh, yeah.
smiling,
Oh,
carefree.
yeah.
Let's skip off into the sunset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And even that building I mean, and, the building coming down was, it was, that was kind of like the ending. That was the line, that
Mhm.
his whole life is now gone. They
Mhm.
think he's dead.
Mhm.
Jadis probably doesn't even question if they're dead or not. The plane ran into the side of a building. Who would have
Right.
jumped out from that height? Well,
Right.
Michonne. And
Exactly.
they had to have jumped into that lake. That's the only way they would have survived.
Mhm. And
But
actually, I'm glad that they showed us that scene because at the end of last episode, we really didn't have any kind of idea what they were jumping into.
right.
Like, how high was it? We had, like, questions. But
Mhm.
then when we saw, okay, thank you for fixing that. Again, credit to great writing. Let's just fix it right away. So
Right.
they're not questioning, that's not possible. How did they survive? Let's just nip it in the bud.
Right. And I got to tell you, I was really intrigued by the building they were in. Because we have, they go into this apartment and the lights turn on and we're going to get it to your perfect temperature and the little Roombas running around and
Mhm.
it looks like there was someone there that had just stepped out is what it looked like.
Yeah.
And Rick's looking in the refrigerator, completely empty. Clean, I might add, but
The
empty.
giveaway was when Michonne put her stuff on that stool by the closet,
Mhm.
that had a layer of dust on it.
Yeah.
The Roomba couldn't get up there.
No, no, it couldn't. Um, and we also got a little more information in just a little short soundbite of what Michonne's life was before the pandemic or before the apocalypse. You know, she she loved that book. She wanted to be a writer, and she went to college, and she was a writer for a little while. Then she went to computer science, and she bounced around. And I really think that's the first time she's ever talked about her life before, other than when she told Rick about her son and her husband and brother.
Yeah. I think that's cool, though. I think it was appropriate, and honestly, it was almost like it was written that way, but it was the perfect segue for her to talk trash about his poetry, or version of poetry, I should say.
Right. And so I really I like that because it's not that we need to go and at this point go into a deep dive into her pre-apocalypse life or anything. It was just this not it was kind of I just liked it. She's sharing something that apparently she had never even shared with him before.
Yeah, and it's setting up a future moment because I don't know if you saw it, but when they ran for that car, Rick had the book in his hand. Look,
Oh, the Judy Bloom book?
yeah, he had it.
Nice.
So somehow he picked it up from her dropping it or something. So we're gonna see it again. I don't know if he's actually gonna be able to give it to Judith. That would be nice.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
And then, them going down and when they were in that in the lab and
Hmm.
and reading the whole, we were trying to make a better world, things went bad. You know.
Yeah. And then the person electrocuted themselves, which was wild, but
Mhm.
guess that's what they felt they had to do. They felt desperate to end
Yeah.
it.
Well, and Michonne, said, of all the zombies, all the walkers, they're all rail thin. They're
Yeah.
all starving.
Mhm.
And you would have to, I guess my question is, because we know that people have moved around, I don't understand why these people just didn't go, okay, we need to leave.
Yeah,
Unless
I
it
don't
was
know.
winter.
Good
I suppose if it was
question.
winter and if they were trapped and it was winter, but they should have known before winter hit if they were going to have enough food or not.
Yeah, or you know how sometimes, like she said after reading the letter, they are so stuck in this is the right way, this is the right thing, it just goes to hell. People didn't leave, they didn't do what they should have,
Right,
and people died.
right,
Maybe it's as simple as that. They're just being hard-headed. We're not going to leave this place.
right.
We've got
And I think
energy.
he was trying to put across to him, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And because the whole thing with the life inside the walls of the CRM are not terrible. They are good for the people that are in there. Don't get me wrong. They're living
Right,
a decent life.
right.
But the soldiers that are doing these horrible things to maintain that, that's not sustainable. Because here's the thing, soldiers like that are trained to behave like that, even if they wipe out every other human being on the face of the earth except for the people inside the walls, once they've done that, they'll eventually turn on the people within the walls.
Absolutely.
Because every army needs an enemy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna see a next episode. I think Jadis comes back again, so we're gonna see. And Michonne says, "Well, obviously we can't go home, right?" She's starting to
Right,
figure this out on her own. They have more work to do, and although during this episode, what she said to Rick in that moment was true. She said, Okafor's mission is not yours.
right,
That's not your responsibility. Maybe changing the CRM one day is not your responsibility. Let it
right.
go. Like your responsibility is your family.
Exactly. And it is.
Yeah.
And, the little clips that we saw of next week, she's saying, we can't go home right now, or
Mhm.
we can't go home. And that may be true. But again, him going back and becoming part of the CRM
That's not the answer either.
it's not the answer. It's not the solution.
No.
Perhaps the solution is blowing up the meeting place. Now that might be a solution. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see what they could do in 2 episodes to
Yeah.
resolve this, or will they just have kind of like a mini win? You know what I mean? Like a
Mhm.
win against the immediate bad guy, but maybe not the CRM as a whole. Maybe they
Yeah.
take a bite out of them, but
Well,
don't
because
destroy them.
we know that they are not that far
Mhm.
from where Rick was working on that summit place.
Right.
And it's obviously, and they never really said what more it was supposed to be. That place has got to be more than a place for these leaders to just get together this one time. That place has got to have more significance, because otherwise that's a large waste of resources.
No, they're gonna build it up. They're gonna put more helicopters there, whatever equipment, they're gonna build
Mhm.
it up.
So, and Rick even knows when the whole thing is supposed to take place. So it is very possible if they get trapped and they can't go back,
Mhm.
going forward and blowing all those people up is an option.
Mhm. It is, yeah.
I'm all
Yeah.
for it. If they could wipe out the entire leadership of the CRM in one blow, go baby.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
they did have all that fuel in the back of that car.
yeah. But
So
they also
maybe
have all that fuel, all that jet fuel, or not jet, but helicopter fuel and stuff there on site. You saw it when they were, when they were there in the staging area, getting ready to go out to fight the walkers. You could see all the supplies.
yeah, they did have that too. So I don't know. I don't and the thing is, and I almost like that in this show, I can't even presume to guess.
Yeah.
I have no clue what is next, even though I think we make some intelligent, guesses, but it's wrong. I can guarantee you it's wrong.
I will say there would be a certain poetic justice if Rick and Michonne can push that herd back towards the conference once all the people are there, and then trap them in there like they did to Omaha.
Oh, that could work. But could they do that on their own?
I don't
I don't
know. I
know.
mean, I can't. Was Michonne there for Alpha? I don't remember now.
I don't remember either. And I did not go back and rewatch the last
I
season what that Michonne was in.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's been a while. I do believe. Yeah, she would have. She would have been there for that.
Well, she
So
didn't tell Rick about Alpha. She only told him about the scar on her back from that one friend that was her ex friend.
yeah, but they really didn't talk a lot about what had happened while he was gone either.
No, they didn't. There's a lot to catch him up on still.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah,
I mean, it's possible. I mean, they do know how to turn herds, and it wouldn't be that difficult. I mean, just make noise.
yeah.
So I don't know.
So,
Well,
do you think they're going to kill Jadis, or do you think they're going to make another deal with her?
I don't know. At this point, I honestly, I'm kind of hoping. I'm kind of leaning towards kill Jadis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but only if they can get enough of the upper echelon to die at the same time. Because right
Yeah.
now they know that Rick knows that she has information about Alexandria. So if she just dies, it's probably going to someone else in the CRM.
Yeah, her fail safe. We don't really know when or how that's going to disperse to someone,
Mhm.
if it's going to be, we don't know how that will happen. So if they
Exactly.
did kill her, and you're right, if they took out enough people higher than her, then it might not matter.
It might not matter.
Right. Because they probably wouldn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Or,
Not only
it,
that, but if you kill enough of the upper echelon, the ones that are doing all of this, and
mm-hmm,
leaving only the ones below that have no idea even what the plan is, that would cause mass chaos.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to kill everyone. You just have to kill the right ones. You know?
That's
and
true.
even and as high up in rank as Rick is, he doesn't know what the plan is.
Mm-hmm.
From everything that we've seen so far, not many people do.
No, just a handful. And he was right at the gates of knowing this,
Right.
but that happened. So,
So
yeah.
again, if everyone that'll be at that meeting knows what the plan is, if they all die, well, who's going to carry on the plan? And
Screw
and
that
this
plan.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
we also know from this whole thing what goes on in the civil government that runs the inside of the city has no idea what the military government of the CRM is doing.
Yeah, true.
So again, if they kill these military leaders, the city people will keep going on as they have, and the ones below who were unaware of this plan or know what the plan is can't continue it because they don't know what it is.
So I wonder if
So
it would be as simple as just taking out Beale. Could it be that simple? Like, maybe they don't
I
need
think
to take out 15 people or 20 people. Maybe him.
No, I think a few more would have to go.
Mhm.
Beal, Jadis, um,
Well, Jadis is, yeah, she's for sure. But,
and a handful of others. And again, it may not have to be 15. Five would probably be sufficient.
And the problem is we don't even know what that higher echelon of knowledge looks like. We don't know how many people it is. We don't
No,
know we don't know anything about it.
no.
And that's
Like I said,
probably by design.
oh yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I mean, if since there's only 2 episodes, I could see Rick and Michonne going, you know what? That's it. We're just going to kill him because that would be the expedient way to take care of the problem.
Absolutely. That would be the quickest way for sure. Just kill everyone and just yeah.
What's the
Leave.
saying? Kill them all, let God sort them out.
Yeah, essentially.
And I
Essentially,
don't
yeah.
have a problem with that because, again, these are the people that went, yeah, we'll just, get rid of Seattle. It's fine. Because they
Mhm.
got rid of Seattle. They got rid of Omaha. And God only knows how many small settlements, how many small communities they just decimated. We know that they were as far down as Louisiana and were causing problems down there.
Yeah, but we know that, but Rick and Michonne don't know that. They don't know that.
I'm just saying,
So,
as a viewer, I would get a great deal of satisfaction to seeing them all die.
yeah, definitely.
And I'm pretty sure Rick and Michonne, just on general principle, would feel pretty good about it too.
They would because, even looking at it from Michonne's point of view of the new group of people she was dealing with,
Yeah,
she wouldn't take them out just for murdering them.
yeah. And I don't, and again, because these people didn't try to negotiate with them, they didn't try to turn them away. They didn't try to do anything to stop them from going. No, they just came in and dropped
Dropped
one
a
of those
chemical weapon
horrible,
on them. Yeah.
yeah, one of those horrible ways to die.
Mhm.
And that's not how good governments act.
No, I'm pretty sure someone would just rather be shot than have that doused on them.
Oh yeah. So and I'm with Michonne on this. She has no love for the CRM,
And she
none,
should not.
and she shouldn't. And it's
Mhm.
not that and she's been inside the walls. She's seen that they have this really nice setup for these people inside who are blissfully unaware of most of what goes on, and that's great for them. But it's not so great for the rest of the world, and the rest of the world shouldn't have to suffer so that a handful of people can live well.
Mhm. Well, I feel like, this is we're not done. I feel like with so many other shows, being juggled right now, we're not done with the CRM. They are not going to destroy the CRM. I'm still sticking to the point where I think they're going to disable them for a minute. I think they're going to save themselves in that community. They're going to protect the intel that Jadis
Mhm.
has laid out there and they're going to set them back. But we're not done with the CRM in this
No.
show.
Well, and again, I mean, we know that the CRM is far flung.
Mhm.
We know that it spans most of the United States, if not all of it. We know that it's has influence over in Europe because there's been, you know, hinted at through several different, between Daryl Dixon and what do you call it? The other show,
Dead City?
Dead City. So, they're around.
Oh yeah.
So again, I mean, if the big thing is if killing the upper echelon, it won't stop the CRM. It won't. But what it will do is it will set back whatever plan this is and hopefully get rid of some of the more zealots
Yeah. And
who are
hopefully,
willing to
honestly,
who are willing to make.
on the small scale, I feel like we just want Rick and Michonne to come home without a monkey on their back.
Mhm.
And I think that is what they will give us, if
Yeah,
nothing else. I'm just not expecting this big grand thing. I don't know. If they do it, great. I just don't know how they can.
right. And like I said, it's I don't know. I don't again. Do I expect Rick and Michonne in 2 episodes to take down the entire CRM? No, it's not possible.
Mhm.
But can they set them back?
Yes.
Yes, yes, they can.
Yes, they can. You know what else I really liked during this episode were some of the, I guess, lines that were drawn to other things like callbacks. Like I love seeing the scenes with Carl again.
Yeah.
I loved that so much. I'm like, oh God, it's so sad. It really reinforced the sadness of it all.
Hmm. Especially for me, it was when it was showing Rick, on that country road
Oh,
with
walking and he disappears. Oh, it's so sad.
yeah, with the little.
Yeah, the little version.
And, it's just, every, and then him talking about, the dreams that he had with him and Michonne and all the, how many different ways they had met, how many ways they had fallen in love, and then it was taken from him too. And it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was. And it actually really, even though, we said Michonne did the heavy lifting, she did, but it gives us room to give him a little bit of grace, right?
Right.
Because it was so awful for him.
And I mean, it's not like he was gone for a week.
8 years.
Yeah. And this was 8 years of indoctrination, 8 years of basic torture, 8 years of living in fear, and even Jadis, instilling additional fear. I know where your community is, and if you leave, guess what? I'm going to kill everybody.
Yes.
And I mean, just that oppression, that steady downward push, pushing him into the ground. It wasn't his fault, but God, you could just the feels for Michonne.
Honestly, I'm surprised she was able to pull that off in basically 24 hours. Like
But they're
she got him to change his mind in essentially 24 hours.
yeah, and I mean, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the love that they have for each other was real,
As the
and it
character
was
said, cannot be denied.
cannot be denied.
Mhm.
And it was their love that kept him going for so long. But and then but when he broke, and with and it was her insistence, her reminding him, her showing him, together, you know we are strong together, we can do anything.
Mhm.
you know I'm for you and you're for me, and this is what we're about. And I think that's what he needed to hear, um and shown.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Oh, so before we complete our conversation on this, I want to draw attention to the titles. We didn't talk about the titles of these episodes yet.
No, we haven't.
And so I'm sure you have heard as well how the first 3 episodes tie in with the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the first season. So I think it's really unique that they're doing. I'm telling you, they plot this show so tightly. And I think so the next set would be these two. So this episode was what we, and then isn't the next one become, right?
I thought
What
it was
we become.
becoming. I thought it was
Becoming
just
what we
becoming.
no, what we becoming, that's not a proper
Oh.
sentence.
No, I thought it was just one word, becoming.
Right, but I'm putting them together. Like, for
Oh, okay.
example, episodes 1 through 3 were years gone by, if you spell it out like that. And episode 4 and 5, 4 is what we and 5 is become. I just checked it. So
Okay.
between 4 and 5, I think it's like a two-parter, what we become. And then episode 6 is called The Last Time. So they're even telling a story in the naming of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they could reach this level of perfection with another season. I don't. This was just everything was thought out, planned, executed with extreme laser focus.
Mhm.
everything was with intent. You could tell, like, even the stories they pull back on from the past, they're all with a purpose. The stories Michonne is talking about from her past, we are going to see in a different episode. I'm sure we're going to see that book again. Everything they're doing is so meticulous. And everyone is saying, the show themselves have not said, yes, we're doing season 2 or no, we are not. They have not said that. And I appreciate them for not saying that because I think they're trying to keep it ambiguous in case they choose to. But I
Mhm.
honestly feel like I don't know if a season 2 would be as good as this season. You can only make this magic one time.
Yeah. Well, and there's also, because we know that they're not reviving The Walking Dead.
Mm,
And I'm not going to lie, I would very much like at the end of the 6th episode, to see them walking into Alexandria.
I know that would be so great.
Um, I would like that very much.
Bring us
But
full circle.
that's full circle.
Yeah.
And just from there, let everything else play out, because we know that they're not bringing back The Walking Dead.
Mm-mm.
So the closest that we have to that at this point is Dead City.
So what I would love to see happen, like you, I want to see Jadis dead.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see them go home. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see a reunion between Rick and Judith and RJ.
Oh yeah.
That would make me happy. And if they wanted to throw something in for good measure, they would let Morgan be there as well.
Right.
But I don't know if we'll get that, but that's what I'm hoping for cuz I just want this story tied up. And if some of these characters choose to show up in other shows, fine, so be it.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just not and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I know they plan for one season and I hope they stay with one season. I hope they don't get greedy and just say let's just force more seasons out because I just don't think it's going to hit like this. This had so much care. I don't know another season would hit in the same way.
Right. Well, and again, this is a story of Rick and Michonne finding each other. That's what the whole point of this is.
Mhm.
And getting Rick home, getting the brave man home to his
Right.
family.
Exactly.
And I mean, if they really wanted to do a second season, it won't. We won't see them go back to Alexandria. They'll be whatever. At the end of episode 6, but they won't be home.
No.
And I don't really want them to drag out the conflict with the CRM, because it would be great if the two of them alone could take down the CRM, but we both know that that's not realistic.
Exactly.
And I would hate for them to draw out a second season of just, guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, I don't
So,
want that. We don't want it.
no. So I think it would be really nice for them to, have their big action moment in uh, episode 5, and episode 6, the ending of episode 6 being the return.
Yeah, go home.
Go home.
Go home.
And, and since they do have Daryl Dixon and we do have Dead City, it's not like, because we do know that someone arrived, according to the CB, when Carol was trying to talk to Alexandria and it kept cutting out. Someone's arrived.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe it's Rick.
Maybe.
We talked about it might be Morgan, it could be
Yeah.
Rick, but at that point, again, if Rick and Michonne wanted to pop up over at, Dead City, they could.
Yeah, they could.
If they wanted to be a flashback over to the US while Carol and Daryl are doing something over in France, they could do that. But, I don't think, but again, since they're not reviving The Walking Dead, unless, there's really no point in having another season.
I feel like this is the end. The final episode is called The Last Time.
Hmm.
I want this to be the end. I feel like, yes, they aren't saying, watch the last ever episode. They're not saying those things, but they don't need to, I don't think.
Right.
This can be the end. And you know what? There is more room for these kids to grow up and show up in these other places.
Hmm.
RJ and Judith both. And guess what? They can talk about their parents all day and we never have to see them.
Exactly.
I can't believe these 2 actors would want to continue in this world after they left. It was
Right.
pulling teeth to get them back here.
Right. And if they want to do an occasional cameo in some other show, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Again, I don't see another season because it if they have another season, they won't go home at the
No.
end of this one, and that means that we won't. All of next season is just going to be, like I said, guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, we're not gonna get the satisfaction at the end of this that we were pretty much promised.
Right.
And I feel like Denai and Andrew will not leave the audience hanging like that. That's why I think there is gonna be a clear line in the sand. This is the end.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. I just wish people would stop, and again, they haven't announced either or. They're kind of just being quiet about it. So I guess anything could technically happen,
Hmm.
but I feel like the fans need to just appreciate the art. You know what I mean? Like, stop begging for more. It's not going to be like it is this season. Stop being
Right.
so greedy. Sit
Right.
down.
Well, and again, I mean, it's not as if we don't have other Walking Dead things that we can watch.
Mhm.
So, and while none of them have so far raised to this level,
They have not.
it's still there. And and we both know that they're not bringing back the entire cast of The Walking Dead to continue on this show.
They are not. Yeah.
And as much as I love Rick and Michonne, I really don't want another full season of just the two of them.
No, I think I like their chemistry. If they gave it to us, I think I would happily watch it, but it would be, again, knowing that it's just not gonna be the magic of the first season.
Right.
It's not.
You know,
Not gonna hit.
let these characters not necessarily have a happy ending, but I mean they gave, on The Walking Dead, they gave everyone kind of this nice little goodbye. Let's do the same thing. Let's give Rick and Michonne that nice
Like a
goodbye.
reprieve. Give them, like, a happy for now ending.
Exactly.
Yeah. They owe it to us. We deserve one.
That's right. Rick and Michonne deserve to have that reunion with their kids.
They do. Like, this has been a long journey, and we know originally they wanted to do what, 3 movies? They weren't even thinking about a TV show originally.
Right.
So this was supposed to be a 3-movie thing, and it was gonna be done. So, I think that they're gonna stick with the plan, and it's gonna be one and done. I hope so, and I hope everyone is cool with it, because 'cause I'm telling you, everyone's loving it. Like, I don't hear anyone complaining about this season.
No. I'm not complaining about this season. You're not complaining about it. We
I know,
love it.
this is so rare. It's so rare. It's like, let's freeze this moment in time.
Hmm. And let's just enjoy it, guys. Let's,
Yeah,
and if there is not a second season, let it go.
let it go. And that's another thing I love about, like, good plotting. And I've said this before on the podcast, I do like a beginning, a middle, and an end. I like it because that means you're working with purpose, writing with purpose, and it's just not flailing, and we're not, pulling shit out of thin air to make things work. And it
Right.
just starts getting really sloppy when you
Kind of
do.
like Fear the Walking Dead when they
Yeah,
dropped
yeah,
the
just
nuke.
it gets real sloppy.
And I don't want that. I don't want
No,
this wonderful season, this wonderful story to just
be wasted.
be nuked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Okay, so last thing I wanted to bring up, and please tell me if I'm the only one who felt this way, but the scene felt really awkward to me. I'm like, why do they seem like a little awkward? What's that face he's making? What's this? I felt like laughing a little bit. I don't know why. In that moment, I was kind of like, this one scene is a little teeny bit cringe. What was it just me?
I don't know what scene was it.
The sex scene,
Oh,
the scene
oh, the scene. Okay,
that wasn't really a full on scene, but it just seemed a little, I don't know, something. I
they
was
were
like,
awkward,
yeah, it was awkward.
but okay, they've been apart for 7 years. All right, it's gonna be awkward.
Yeah,
They're
apparently so.
they're almost like strangers.
Apparently so. Because that's what it seemed like.
It's anyone who's ever had a soldier deployed and come home, that you're awkward for a little bit. You just are, because it's when people are apart, you change, you grow, you become different people. And while that feeling is still there,
The mechanics, just like the fighting, right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's kind of off.
It's a little off. You have to
Yeah.
get back into, you have to get back into your rhythm. So yeah, I honestly, I didn't, the awkwardness made sense to me.
Yeah, it did make sense, but I still kind of was like, "Ooh, I don't know." I don't know. Just something about it. I almost wonder if we even needed it, but that was like, I guess, my one critique because everything else was just so smooth and just so awesome. And then that one little thing kind of made my eye twitch a little. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
if you think about it, sex straight up is just awkward. It's, it's one of the, I mean, it's when you're your most vulnerable,
Yeah,
and it's, and these are two strangers who love each other trying to reconnect.
yeah. I mean, what you're saying is true, and I understand it. It's totally fair, but I still, eh,
Eh,
that one, eh. But everything else, chef's kiss, like no problems.
all right.
Yeah. Wow, that was good. I think we're done. What do you think, Lisa?
I think we're done.
Yeah, it was a really good time. You guys, thanks for listening to the entire episode. We appreciate you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, like and share this episode with other TWDU fans, and we'll catch you guys next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.